Today's program is brought to you by OTCStockShark.com. For the latest and greatest OTC and Pink Sheets information, sign up for your account at OTCStockShark.com. Thank you for tuning in to TBC Today. I'm Brandon Vincent.
And I'm Angelina Soriano. In U.S. news, in Frankfort, Kentucky, there's a new effort underway to stop teenagers from sending or receiving nude photos through text messages. Kentucky lawmakers aim to pass a bill that will send a strong message to teens about sexting. The way the current law reads, Kentucky prosecutors would have to charge a teen with a felony. I don't want to saddle these kids with a sexual offense of the record for the rest of their lives for a silly act they will commit as a child, said Jim Daly, a Campbell County attorney. So no, lawmakers are proposing a new law for teens caught sexting. If they are under the age of 18, they would have to perform community service and pay a $100 fine. A second offense is upgraded to a misdemeanor charge. Bullying, cyberbullying, intimidation, the issues around texting, it's becoming a serious problem, and now judges will have an additional item in their toolbox, so to speak, said a high school principal. For Daly, the proposed law raised concern that the punishment is too light for those teens who try to profit from sexting. Kentucky now joins a list of 10 other states, including Ohio and Indiana, trying to figure out the best legislation to discourage sexting. House Bill 143 passed the House Judiciary Committee last week. It now goes to the full House for a vote. Now over to Brandon with international news.
Thanks again, Angie. For today's international news, it was widely billed as the first uplifting story in the aftermath of the earthquake that devastated Haiti's capital. Two young American women rescued 54 Haitian orphans in an airlift that was organized by Governor Ed Rendell of Pennsylvania and supported by top Obama administration officials. More than a month later, Governor Rendell is enjoying a reprieve from months of negative budget news coverage. The local church that sponsors the American women's work with orphans is reportedly receiving record donations, and 42 of the orphans are in the care of American families who had applied to adopt them. But for 12 of the children, last month's airlift transported them from one uncertain predicament to another. As it turns out, those children were not in the process of being adopted, might not even at all be orphans, and are living in a juvenile care center here while the authorities determine whether they have relatives in Haiti who are able to care for them. The details of the children's departure remains unclear. Ambassador Raymond Joseph, Haiti's envoy to the United States, said he refused to approve Governor Rendell's request to remove the children from the country who were not already in the adoption pipeline. But an aide to the Prime Minister, Jean Bellerive, said that the Haitian government accepted assurances from Mr. Rendell and American officials that the children would be well cared for in the United States. Senior Obama administration officials acknowledged in interviews that lines of authority were fuzzy in Haiti on the day of the rescue mission. And they said that American officials concerned about the well-being of the children had allowed Mr. Rendell to remove them from Haiti, even though they had not received clear authorization to travel by the Haitian government and were not in the process of being adopted by American families, as required by a United States humanitarian parole policy announced the day that Mr. Rendell landed in Haiti. When asked what he had done to persuade the administration to grant an expedition for the 12 children, Mr. Rendell said, "I don't know how it happened, but I didn't ask a lot of questions. And if you had seen the faces of those children as we loaded them onto the airplane, you wouldn't have asked a lot of questions either." Several administration officials who spoke at length at the rescue effort suggested that they were led by their hearts. There were 2 American women and 54 small children living in precarious conditions without access to food, water, or sanitation. Telephone lines were down, and nearly all government offices had been flattened. Child protection advocates, who generally believe that hastily removing unaccompanied children from areas hit by disasters risks severing family bonds and exposing the children to further trauma, took a different view. Diane Paul, an expert on natural disasters and human rights at the Brookings Institution, pointed out that most children living in Haitian orphanages had families who had given them up during hard economic times, but ultimately hoped to recover them. For now, they are living in a sweeping 5,000 square foot cottage in the Holy Family Institute just outside Pittsburgh. The Institute's snow-covered playground and indoor swimming pool make it seem a world away from the disaster-ridden streets of Haiti's capital. The director, Linda Janowski, said leaders of Pittsburgh's small Haitian community were volunteering to cook and work with the children, and she said that the children did not seem traumatized by their transition. Most of the 54 children in McMurtry sisters' care were eligible for parole, but the women refused to leave Haiti without the dozen children who were not. That is where Mr. Rendell's high-level political connections became most important. Upon landing at the Haitian capital, he used a cell phone that faded in and out of service to press for authorization to take all of the children back to the United States. He and a representative began contacting everyone they thought could help back in Washington. Mr. Altemeyer recalled getting 1 or 2 more children approved with nearly every phone call that was made. Mr. McDonald got a message on his cell phone granting the children authority to come to the United States. And 5.5 emotionally exhilarating hours later, most of the group was on its way to Pittsburgh.
Think you're too busy to work out? Think again. Now there's the Ab Circle Pro, the fastest, easiest way to lose those love handles and get the sexy sculpted body you've always wanted.
The secret is the Ab Circle Pro combines cardio and abs to burn fat, while its unique friction-free track uses the momentum of gravity to target your entire midsection in a full circular motion, firing your core like no other machine has ever done. Best of all, it's fun and easy and takes just 3 minutes a day. And now, through this exclusive TV offer, the Ab Circle Pro can be yours to try in your home for 30 days for just $14.95. And if you call within the next 10 minutes, we'll send you Jennifer Nicole Lee's complete Lose Your Love Handle system, which includes our 3-minute express workout and nutritional guide, absolutely free.
Call 1-800-310-1646 to try Ab Circle Pro for $14.95 plus shipping with credit card order. Call now for a free upgrade to priority processing. That's 1-800-310-1646.
Thank you, Brandon. In fashion news today, London Fashion Week has tended over the years to be more concerned with women's clothes than men's. More recently, however, menswear has been gradually building in prominence, particularly with the support of the annual Men's Showcase. This year, Prophetic's Autumn-Winter collection furthered the menswear cause with a brilliant show inspired by the American Civil War. Prophetic's all-sustainable collection uses herringbone hemp in recycled bottles and aims to create clothes that are strong enough to withstand the test of time, both in terms of durability and style. And given that Civil War chic is back today after 150-odd years, the collection will be a long-term investment for your children's children. The London Fashion Week show opened with a bang with live music from Man Raised, a band comprised of former members of the Sex Pistols and Def Leppard, playing against turntablist DJ Richie Rich. Prophetic is currently stocked in over 60 high-end boutiques in the United States, Japan, Switzerland, France, and the United Kingdom. Now back to Brandon.
Thanks again, Angie. In today's financial news, Wall Street trading is often described as a blood sport. But inside the great investment houses, the sport of the moment is, of all things, curling. That oddball of the Olympics that is sort of like shuffleboard on ice. The slowpoke game, which originated in 16th century Scotland, has captivated the type of a-world Wall Street audience almost by accident. CNBC, whose market chatter is the background music on the trading floor, switches to curling from Vancouver shortly after the closing bell. And so, after a day of braying for money in the markets, traders are winding down with curling. It is a bit of aftermarket therapy. Curling is so slow and drawn out that it becomes mesmerizing. People at Bank of America, Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, and even the Treasury Department have gone a bit curling crazy. Terms like kizzle-kazzle, a curling stone that is wobbled to compensate for slush on the ice, have suddenly entered the Wall Street's lexicon. CNBC's rating have gotten a boost too. To the unintimidated, the game seems like horseshoes combined with housekeeping. One team member slides a 42-pound stone towards the target zone, while 2 sweepers guide it along by frantically sweeping the ice with brooms. But aficionados say it isn't about thrills, it's about strategy and precision. Curling is like chess on ice, and that, Wall Streeters say, is a part of its quiet appeal. A counselor to the Treasury Secretary, Timothy Gaither, said curling provided a welcome respite from the usual shout-'em-out style of business TV. For Olympic curlers and Wall Street, it's almost over. The women's gold medal match was Friday at 6 p.m. on CNBC.
Thank you for tuning in to TBC Today. I'm Brandon Vincent.
And I'm Angelina Soriano.